to present a poem. What shall I do?
What will you do? Is this a question? Show that you know the poem and remind them what a poem it is. Well, you know what you must do. Go, confront the problem, fight, win, and call me when you get back, darling. I enjoy our visits.
Welcome to the Poetry Dojo,
where we learn to know our poems.
And learn to wield them, to fight and win.
Today we are considering Home by Edgar Guest.
Edgar Guest is a prolific poet born in England who moved from Birmingham to Detroit. I almost feel a little sorry at that point, but Detroit, who I'm sure was a very active town at the time. He was born at the end of the 19th century, 1881. Hardly exactly the end, but August 1881, and he lived until August 1959. So he is known as a British-born American poet.
The opposite of T.S. Eliot.
T.S. Eliot was American-born? And
yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's why you get to study him in both American literature and British literature classes.
Well,
it's a twofer.
There you go. So do you get to study Guest in both American and British literature?
No. And I will not describe my feelings on that topic.
I believe that your feelings may come from your early reading of
Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events.
Yes, the Grim Grotto, the 11th book, the Grim Grotto, where Klaus Baudelaire recalls how he once was given a Hobson's choice of doing the dishes or reading Guest poetry, and the villainous crew of Count Olaf's submarine Carmelita wears badges depicting Guest, in contrast to the hero's badges depicting Herman Melville. Clearly, the book's author goes out of his way to praise Melville and disparage Guest, and I guess we shouldn't talk about Melville at this time. But evidently, that opinion has saturated.
Yeah, it made its way into my subconscious, and I looked at this poem and said, Edgar Guest, why do I hate him?
In any case, he was prolific. He wrote over 11,000 published poems during his lifetime. I don't remember that he ever was the poet laureate, but he was a successful poet. Mm-hmm. And many of his poems have made their way into car commercials.
Yeah.
Both Chrysler and Audi used them. And I would not use that to cast disparagement on them, because a band that is one of my favorites of American folk did most of their work for commercials.
Oh, really?
Yes. I Like to Teach the World to Sing in Perfect Harmony, My Beautiful Balloon. These are we'll have to examine them.
Who is it?
Who is it? I think maybe I don't remember. Maybe the Carpenters.
Oh, okay.
In any case, the poem we're looking at today, Home, by Edgar Guest, relies upon dialect. Home, by Edgar Guest. It takes a heap of living in a house to make it home. A heap of sun and shadow, and you sometimes have to roam before you really appreciate the things you left behind. And hunger for 'em somehow. With a mollusk on your mind, it don't make any difference how rich you get to be, how much your chairs and tables cost, how great your luxury. It ain't home to you, though it be the palace of a king, until somehow your soul is sort of wrapped around everything. Home ain't a place that gold can buy or get up in a minute. Afore it's home, there's got to be a heap of living in it. Within the walls, there's got to be some babies born. And then, right there, you've got to bring 'em up to women good, and men. And gradually, as time goes on, you find you wouldn't part with anything they ever used. They've grown into your heart. The old high chairs, the playthings, too. The little shoes they wore, you hoard. And if you could, you'd keep the thumb marks on the door. You've got to weep to make it home. You've got to sit and sigh and watch beside a loved one's bed and know that death is nigh. And in the stillness of the night, to see death's angel come. and close the eyes of her that smiled, and leave her sweet voice dumb. For these are the scenes that grip the heart. And when your tears are dried, you find the home is dearer than it was, and sanctified. And tugging at you always are the pleasant memories of her that was and is no more. You can't escape from these. You've got to sing and dance for years. You've got to romp and play and learn to love the things you have by using them each day. Even the roses round the porch must blossom year by year afore they come a part of ye, suggesting someone dear who used to love 'em long ago and trained 'em just to run the way they do, so they would get the early morning sun. You got to love each brick and stone, from cellar up to dome. It takes a heap of living in a house to make it home.
As far as the dialect goes, I think it is important in your delivery that it sound effortless. It's better to not get it quite right and just keep rolling than to try and get each apostrophe appropriately placed.
Yeah, it's more of getting a particular sound and just flowing with it. It needs to sound. The problem is it's easy to adopt those things. It needs to sound
lived in,
sound natural, lived in, West Virginian or North Carolinian. But when you're memorizing it, the one thing you don't want to do is deliver it as an Oxford presentation. And hammering those apostrophes in. He's simply grabbing Americana and attempting to make it feel near at hand, near to heart. And he does so with a number of cheats that are very effective for sneaking into parents' hearts, memories of their children, and even suggesting loss. Is one of the things to remember, or at least to recognize, is that in the time that we live, death has been pushed at least to arm's length. We are terrified of it, but we don't interact with it. We haven't felt its pain quite the same way. COVID was terrifying and terrible when it was largely a glorified cold. And yet the concept of dying had us terrified and frightened. When Edgar Guest wrote, tuberculosis had not been cured, at least not until the end of his life. Every American family had lost at least one member. Everyone, at one point or another, sat still as a loved one died, and they were near at hand. This is a real pain and a real part of the human experience that we have been denied in the last few generations, and it has not served us well. We need to remember that death is nigh, but we also need to remember that it has been conquered. We need not fear the grave, and therefore the bittersweet of the poem. It is not simply horror and loss.
Yeah, we have a snapshot of a different time, just as death is at arm's length. I think birth is also at arm's length. In today's world, these things that he mentions used to be part of not just our experience, but our homes. Babies were born at home. People died at home. So when you give the poem, there's a somberness to it. He does say that the home is sanctified by the death. That is something special, but it's also something that everyone experienced. It's something that you would expect your audience to recognize and resonate with.
It was part of everyone's life, and therefore to be lived in was to have that experience, to share those experiences.
So there's a real opportunity to connect with your audience over these things that were in the world that you are inviting your audience into, normal, commonplace things. You can expect that. You're not presenting an idea that your audience has not experienced. You're inviting them to share the experience with you.
There are things that we make into horrors because we push them away and we avoid them. And in the Americana of this poem, those things are near at hand. You don't push them away. You can't. And so it is a different worldview. It's a different experience. It is one that was common to that age. And there's an aspect of it that actually feels more real than the constructs of our current time. Those experiences range back 6,000 years of all of mankind. And as much as it is foreign to us, when we experience them, they nevertheless remain familiar. And so your audience hearing this, if you deliver it easily, not clunkily, not clattering over the dialect, but simply letting the dialect drive the delivery, ease the delivery. The dialect, I think, serves to take you back in time, and it will ease the listeners, who include your judges, into that time with you. Therefore, again, this can be a winning poem because it can bring a tear to the eye. It can make one swell with joy and weep within just a few moments, one from the other. And that makes it powerful, and delivered well, that makes the judges rank you high. So if this does come to be your poem, draw it near your heart and get familiar with it so you can just flow off your tongue. And I think you can do very well with it.
Thank you for tuning in. This has been a Diecast Media Group production. Please recommend us to friends, family relations, but
not your opponents.
Please feel free to email us with questions at poetrydojo@diecastmediagroup.com. Tune in next time for another exciting episode and another fine poem.